Hello YouTube. I'm going to adjust this camera just a slight bit. My name is Daryl Dawes, and we are continuing getting around the MOXF8 series for blind users. I wanted to do these videos because I had a hard time finding helpful videos in using this board. So let's get started, okay? Last video we went over some buttons, and in this video we're going to continue that because there's a lot of buttons on here, and if we have time we'll get into voice mode some more, okay? So just to recap, we had the 9 buttons past the data wheel. We had under the data wheel the cursor buttons, and we also had on the top, we had from left to right, we had the decrement and then the increment button, or your minus and plus to move through your values and voices. Then at the bottom we have 3 buttons, from left to right: shift, exit, and enter. Okay. Past the enter button we had 3 buttons, and they were edit, edit, job, and store. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a later video. I suggest before we get to the store, how to store your sound video, I'm not really sure how to do this. I've done it a couple of times on storing to a USB device, but there is a video out there that does talk about how to do that. If you're a blind user, I would suggest getting someone to help you with that screen, because I'm not in a position to teach that screen. Okay. All right, so I'm going to only teach you the things I know how to do on this board. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Okay, so after the store button, okay, we have a row of buttons. If you go up to the top, past the 9 buttons that were like set up like a telephone keypad sort of thing. If you go all the way to the top, you'll see 3 buttons. They are, I think I talked about this in the last video, but they are the layer, split, and assign button, or drum assign. Okay. Okay, past that, there's 2 buttons. There's the negative and positive for switching through banks if you're in the voice mode. So these are the user banks. So user 1, 2, user 3, and then there's also 9 banks for presets, and there's a GM bank. There's also a user bank for drums, and there's a pre for drums, and there's also a GM for drums. Okay, and I think there's a bank also for mega voices. All right, so let's continue. Underneath that, there's the A through H buttons. There's 8 buttons there. They're labeled A through H. This helps you get through certain situations. And then underneath that is the comment button. Then there's 8 buttons underneath the comment button, and those are 1 through 8. And then come down again, there's 9 through 16. Past these, you'll find, and I'm not sure this is on camera, but you'll find 4 buttons, and they are in order from left to right. From the top, we're going left to right: pattern, track, and then you have solo and mute. Okay, that's that side of the keyboard. Let's go to the left side of the screen. starting from the top, we have your effects buttons, and I believe the order is instrument, system, and master. I believe that's the order. And then you come down and you find 3 more buttons, and they are arpeggio, arpeggio edit, and remote for using the keyboard with the computer or your DAW software. Excuse me. Okay, now come down again. You have 3 buttons. You have top, rewind, and fast forward. And then you have under that, record, stop, and play. All right, then you have the 8 knobs. You have 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom. Underneath the knobs, there are a set of buttons that sit by themselves in 2s. And so let's go to the left of record, okay? So left of record, there's 2 buttons here, and I'm gonna read them from left to right. Now I memorized all this, okay? So here we go. So from left to right, we have negative and positive. Basically what this button does, it's your transpose button. So if you go up 1, and you're in C, and you go up 1, you see it moves to C sharp, okay? So that's useful if you're playing gigs and somebody calls a tune in another key, you don't want to change your hand position because you like that hand position or whatever, then you can use these buttons. Note that if you're in a key with this transpose button and you want to return to the original key, press them both together, and there you go, back to C. All right. Next is your octave button. This button moves in octaves. Okay. And the same concept here. Press 2 buttons, press the 2 buttons together, and you get back to the original key. Now reading those from left to right, it's the same thing. Negative, of course, and positive. Okay, next to that is 2 buttons. They are the function buttons. Function A on the left and function B on the right. These will alter your sound. Okay. All right. Coming up from those 2, you'll feel these 3 lights. These are for editing parameters for your knobs by using the knobs. For example, you can edit your EQs, your effects, and your arpeggios with the bottom set. And the top, if you go up, there's another button. It does the same cycling for this button, but it applies to the knobs on the top. And the cycle is, if I remember correctly, is by default filter, and also envelope generator, and a little bit of the mix. So like volume, pan, and I believe something to do with the effects, how they're linked up to the sound. All right. If we go up above to the left of that, you'll find a knob. I don't know if this is on camera, but there's a knob. That's your gain for when you plug a bass or a microphone or another synthesizer or a CD player to the back of the keyboard, and you will use the jacks on the far left of the board in the back. To turn that on, to activate it, you press the button next to the knob, I've done this in gigs. And the button next to that is, it has two lights. And I think this is used to set up whether you're using a line in or a mic, okay? I'm not sure anyone knows that answer. Leave that in the comment section so I know and I can tell everybody else. Okay, now let's see. From here, I think we covered all the buttons. Of course, you have your volume, and that's the slider furthest left, and you also have another volume slider. That, I believe, is used for your DAW, okay, to raise the volume in recording. And that's everything. So I think I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the voice mode here. We covered it in the other video a little bit, but in this mode, you can, if you're playing at a gig and you're playing live, the knobs can be used to EQ your sound. See, like I have this piano here, and I don't like the sound of it, the EQ on it. Maybe it's too bassy for the sound system that I'm going through. So rather than telling the engineer, can you take some of that bass out? Why not just take the first knob on the far left and turn it counterclockwise, and your bass starts to disappear, okay? You can also do that to your mids. You can turn the mids up. Now, of course, you can't hear the change because the high mids need to be adjusted as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn it all the way up so we can actually hear the drastic change, okay? So I'm turning the mids up, or the high mids, and you see it gets clearer. Now if I turn the low, the mids down, you can hear a drastic change, okay? It gets more muddy. You can also change your highs. Let's change that back a little bit. And that's the last button, or the last knob, I mean, on the bottom, on the right. So the first one is bass, the second one is mid, and the third one is mid-highs, and the last one is highs. Sweet, all right. So that's option. And this, of course, will sound different each sound you choose. It's going to change how it sounds, and you can EQ it to your liking. So that's a thing you can use during your gig, okay? So I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, hit the like button, and to help me out, subscribe to my video channel, and we will continue our series. I think in our next video we will talk about storing sounds, and maybe we'll get into a little bit of editing, okay? So see you on the next video. Bye for now.